Hello, this is Debra Cohen with Matwork Clearwater FL. And today we're going to talk about postural analysis because everybody that starts in my Pilates mat work or yoga classes needs to become aware of how they are holding themselves. So here are some interesting tips from the magazine that I was so resistant to receive. AARP. This is August 28th. Well, what version is this? You would think the date. Okay, it's at the bottom here. August, September 23. And if you look on page 19, then you can read along with me if you get this magazine. So you know that in saying so, we're talking to older adults like me, yes. Posture becomes a real issue because I don't know if you've seen these older people that walk around like with a hunchback. That's called kyphosis, and it's something that we can work on in my classes to have better posture. All right, so if you're looking at this on video, you can see a picture next to me that says postural analysis. But if you're listening on my podcast, then I will read them aloud so you can also get the benefit of learning. So in postural analysis, when you're standing, think about these 5 posture checks that should be done before class. Number 1, is the ear vertically aligned over the center of the shoulder? That's a lateral check, and in this article called Stand Up Straight in AARP, it says that you want to stand so that your left side is adjacent to a full-length mirror. Turn your head slightly to see a reflection, or ask a partner to assess you. And ask, number 1, where are my ears? You want your ears to be above your shoulders. The first sign of trouble in the neck is if you have, some people lose their curve, they call that a military neck. It juts forward. That's a sign that you're out of balance. So you want to intentionally hold yourself to the best of your ability, which will improve with Pilates mat work, to get your shoulders above your get your ears above your shoulders. Number 2, are the scapula, which are those wing bones in your back, opposite your breasts, are the scapula slightly retracted and depressed to position the center of the shoulder directly over the hip? So a lot of times, like if I look in the mirror straight on, sometimes I can see that one of my shoulders is lower than the other. That's trouble. It could be scoliosis, hopefully not, but that's a sign of bad posture. So do that check. Number 3, is a neutral position maintained through the lumbar spine and with the core muscles engaged. And the lumbar is your lower back, around your navel area, and neutral means your hips are not tilted forward. Like if you see like an older person with a big belly, sometimes their front kind of hangs down. That's an anterior tilt on their hips, which is wrong. Or they kind of sit back and they've got too much of a posterior tilt on their hips. So neutral means you're standing in the correct anatomical posture and you're not contracting your muscles. You're actually, like for example in yoga, you can stand in mountain pose, and if your posture is good, once you use your muscles to assist you in the position or the pose, you can relax your muscles and stand essentially on your skeleton, which is really cool and something that we need to work on, especially as we get older. Why? Because if you don't, then you can start to shrink because of 30 pounds of gravity sitting on your head every day. Or worse, you can walk around like the hunchback of Notre Dame. And I certainly don't want to go there. Okay, so number 4 in the posture analysis is, are the knees soft? And this is something I struggle with. As a child, nobody corrected my posture. I wish they did it in school to tell children when they're very impressionable how to stand correctly, but they don't do it, which is really sad, at least in the United States. So I have locked knees with the patella, meaning the kneecaps, facing forward and in line vertically with the center of the foot. So if you have locked knees, they need to be slightly, just a soft knee, not a bent knee, so to speak, but a soft, relaxed knee, a little bit of a bend in the back of the knee. And you want your kneecap to be facing forward. And if you don't have your toes pointing forward, your kneecaps probably aren't facing forward. So you need to check your feet, which is number 5 on the posture check. And you want your patella or kneecap to be in line vertically with the center of your foot, not out to the left or right. And lastly, in the posture check, which I know it sounds like a lot, but it becomes second nature when you do this check daily, or at least once you go to class. Number 5, are the feet positioned hip width apart with toes pointing forward and normal arches maintained through medial aspects of the feet, medial meaning the insides. So, and again, in mountain pose when we're standing, I will tell you to do this thing called footprints in the sand, where your big toe, little toe, and heel have the same pressure on the floor. So you're not leaning on the outsides of the edges of your feet or on the inside, or you don't have more weight in the front than you do in the back. You need to have the same weight or pressure in your toes as your heels, with a slight bend in your knees, kneecap lined above your feet, hips are level. And if you, I've actually had a woman that asked me where her hip bones were. So if you're as old as I am, we used to have these things called hip hugger jeans. And so, at once upon a time, you could actually see my hip bones protruding from above my hip hugger waistline. But those days, right now at least, are gone. But you're supposed to be able to feel right around your belly button, left and right of your belly button, your bone. There's a bone in there somewhere. And those, you want to make sure when you're working out, those 2 hip bones, left and right, are like a carpenter's level when you're doing your workout. You always want to have your hips level. And I remind people of that during the class, but I just want you to develop an awareness. This is an awareness video. Okay, so those are the 5 posture check. And if you have the September-October 2023 issue of AARP on page 19, you can look at the Stand Up Straight article. It'll give you more detailed information on how you should be standing, especially as an adult. So work with this video and see if you can check off all 5 postural analysis checks. Thank you for listening, and if you need more information, please subscribe to my YouTube video meaning the @ sign with a circle around it, Matwork Clearwater FL. Thanks, and hope to see you again soon. This is Debra Cohen.